Hello everybody, we're getting ready to do 3.10 part 1 of SAT Math Prep. Here's the contact email. 3.10 Graphing in the XY plane. This is part 1. There's 34 points of notes possible for part 1, and then at the end of part 1, part 2, there is a skill sheet of worth 64 points. You could contact me to acquire that. Notebook page 1 overview of this section. The XY plane is formed by two fixed perpendicular lines called axes, intersecting at their 0 points called the origin. Each point in XY plane can be uniquely represented by ordered pair of signed numbers called coordinates. So the horizontal is the x-axis, the vertical is the y-axis. XY plane is divided into 4 quadrants here, 2, 3, and 4. So finding the distance between points. The distance formula can be used to find distance between any 2 points in the XY plane, say AB, which is also the length of the segment AB. So we have a distance formula. Here's our distance formula here, xb minus xa squared, yb minus ya squared. This is a schematic here of what the values would be when you stick into this formula here for distance. Find the distance d between points 4, -1, 7, 5. So we let AA be 4, -1, and B equal 7 and 5. We plug that into our formula here. We get this, and the distance between these 2 points is 3 times square root of 4. Finding the midpoint of a segment. So, midpoint formula, coordinates x and y of the midpoint of the segment whose endpoints are xa, ya, and xb, yb. Here's an example here of the midpoint formula and the rationale behind the formula. Here is the formula here. So the midpoint of x is xa plus xb over 2. Same thing for y. To find the midpoint of a segment whose endpoints, we're going to use those same line segments we had up there. 4 plus 7 over 2 for our x points, and then our y points would be -1 and 5. So the midpoint would be 11 over 2, 2 for our midpoint here. Here's our x, here's our y. So finding the slope of a line. The slope of a line that represents the steepness calculated by finding the difference of y for any 2 points on the line, delta y, and dividing it by the difference of the x coordinates of 2 points, delta x, taken in the same order. The letter M is commonly used to represent slopes. So the slope formula is, again, we have points A and B. We have delta y over delta x, yb minus ya over xb minus xa. The order in which coordinates of the points are subtracted must be the same in the numerator and the denominator. So we're going to find the slope again of these 2 points, the line connecting those two. So here's our plug-in here. So we have difference of our y coordinates, 5 minus -1 over 7 minus 4. And we have 5 plus 1 over 3 is what we have. What, 6, right? Math reference fact. If you know the slope and the coordinates of one point on a line, you can find the coordinates of the other points on the line. For example, if the slope of the line is 2 and the point is -1, 3 is on the line, then each time x increases by 1, y increases by 2, so there's another point on the line. -1 plus 1, 3 plus 2 equals 0, 5. Positive, negative is 0 slope. A line that rises as x increases has positive slope. If the line falls as x increases, the line has slope. So positive versus negative slope. Here is positive slope. This line here has negative slope. Slope of a horizontal line is 0, so let's get into that. Let's get into a 0 slope line. Here's Here is positive, here's negative. Slope of a vertical line is undefined now. When you have a vertical line, it's undefined because you would have 0. Your y-coordinates would make it, rather it'd be rise over run, so your x-coordinates here would be 0 in the denominator of your slope formula, which would make this line undefined. Parallel lines have the same slope. So point versus negative slope, slope of vertical lines undefined. Parallel lines have the same slope, so you have lines like this, they both have a positive slope here. They never intersect, so they are parallel. That's the definition of parallel lines. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals. If the slope of a line is 3 over 4, then the slope of a perpendicular line be negative 4 over 3. So when you reciprocate this, and the negative of that is negative 4 over 3. The product of the slopes of perpendicular lines is 1. So positive, negative slope again, slope of undefined line. Then we have parallel lines here, and then perpendiculars are here. So they're negative reciprocals. This line here will be the negative reciprocal of this line here. So this line here will be the negative reciprocal of this line here. M equals the negative of 1 over M2 is what it would be. So equation of a line y equals mx plus c. If a non-vertical line has slope m and intersects y-axis at 0b, then the equation of y equals mx plus b describes a set of all points x and y that the line contains. For example, y equals negative 5x plus 3, then slope equals negative 5, and b is the y-intercept. Crosses the y-axis at 0. So an equation of a line is 2x minus 4, then m equals 2. Slope of a line parallel to the given line would also have a slope of 2. If an equation of a line is this, 3x plus y equals 7, and solving for y, it gives us this here, y equals negative 3x, move this over here. So m equals negative 3, and b, which is the y-intercept, would be 7. The slope of a line perpendicular to the given line with a slope of negative 3 would be 1 over 3. The negative inverse of negative 3 would be 1 over 3. Line P contains the points negative 1, 8, and 9 and k. If line P is parallel to line Q, whose equation is that? What is the value of k? Find the slope of 3x plus 4y equals 7 by changing the equation slope-intercept form. So we get this here. Here's our slope-intercept form. So slope of line Q will be negative 3 over 4. Using the slope form represents the slope of line NP in terms of k minus 8, and 9 over k. So that would be delta y equals k minus 8. Then delta x would be 10 here. So when you have negative 8 over 10, so it'd be negative 3 over 4 for k minus 8 equals 10. So we plug that in here to our slope-intercept form of a line, k minus 8. 4 times k minus 8 equals negative 3 over 10. And then we get 4k equals this, 4k, k equals 1/2. So that would be our k point. That is our 3.10 part 1. Contact me here for PowerPoints and video. Thank you very much.